Welcome everybody to the NXT party. I am of course your host, the Rated R reviewer Stefan Osborne, joined as always by the General Jerry Slaughter.
Good evening, wrestling fans.
And tonight our special guests are first, the one and only Dutchess herself, 1/3 of the ladies of No DQ. We've got Cindy G on the left-hand panel. How you doing, Cindy?
I'm doing pretty good, just recovering from a sinuses allergy, but hey, I'm doing okay. I'm like 80% better. So, yeah.
Perfect time of the year to be inside drinking orange juice and soup and recuperating from an illness. I mean, it's too cold outside to do anything.
Yes, pretty much.
Like, for real. Unless you got to go to the store for that bread and milk. So on the right-hand panel, we've got superfan Owen Finch, the Birdman of Boston himself. How you doing, Owen?
I'm doing well. Very excited to be doing this. I didn't expect to be invited on just because I thought somebody else from the No DQ NXT team was going to be invited on, but I'm very excited. I caught up with...
You are part of the NXT team, and don't you forget that.
Yes.
Yeah, but I'm excited. I caught up with Walking Dead today, and I'm also excited for that Sunday, and I'm excited to talk about this show. So
awesome!
I tell you, one of these years I'm gonna catch up to The Walking Dead, and it would probably take a year because I watched the first season.
Yeah.
Oh. I dug it, but I didn't have cable for the longest time.
That's what happened with me. I got up to about season 3, season 4, then didn't have cable anymore. So.
Well, I do gotta warn you, seasons 6 through 8 are not the best episodes. They get pretty weak, but season 9's been better. So.
I'm sure by the time I get around to actually watching the show, there'll be enough memes out there that I'll know everything.
But this isn't about The Walking Dead.
No.
This is about an awesome episode of NXT UK.
This is about NXT UK, episode number 29. We are going to be reviewing that tonight. We start off the show with... It really shouldn't be, but I thought it was an odd pairing for a match because there was no jobber here. We had two faces. Okay, we've got Mark Andrews versus Ligero, of all people.
This is the first time we've actually seen two flat-out faces face off against each other. So, because you had Pete Dunne versus Noam Dar at one point, that was kind of like a tweener kind of match, but at the same time, you already knew who the heavy favorite was in that.
Noam Dar is totally a heel.
But then you look at Ligero and Mark Andrews, both clear-cut fan favorites, and we get to see them in a match together.
Yep.
I was already excited about this. So
to quote Luke. Luke from Wrestle Talk. Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Yes. So, Cindy, what did you think about this match?
It seems like I have to agree with you guys. It is pretty odd seeing Ligero and Mark Andrews facing off together, despite the fact that they're both baby faces. Mm-hmm. I honestly feel like this match is like your typical match you're watching from 205 Live. He did a pretty good job, to say so at least, especially, I would say, Mark Andrews. He's doing pretty quite well.
Yeah.
But
I mean, if there was stock in the Stun Dog Millionaire, it'd be through the roof. He hits that every week.
General rule number 1: if you're in a match with Mark Andrew, do not try for a vertical suplex.
Yeah,
it never ends well for you.
No. So, I gotta ask you, Cindy, did you expect this ending? Did you expect Ligero to pull out the win here? Because I literally, a minute and a half beforehand, I'm like, well, of course Ligero's not gonna win this. I was wrong. What do you think about Ligero getting the victory? To me, this came out of nowhere.
It was pretty surprising, to say at least. I thought Mark Andrews was gonna be winning this whole match because of his in-ring ability with Ligero, with a bit of his lucha styles. You kind of expect how Mark Andrews trying to let's just say, trying to end it for the win. But, surprisingly enough, Ligero winning the match with his finisher is kind of like a WTF moment. So,
yep.
I was still shocked till this day that he actually picked up the win, and that's it.
Now, Owen, what about you? And at the same time, were you surprised by the ending?
I really like this match. One of my favorite parts of it is because their styles are so similar and stuff, they kind of had to adjust the wrestling style in the match where they kind of had to go do like a little bit more of a ground-based type of match throughout it. But I really liked the match. I love the also that like 186. I don't think they call it that, but that stomp that Mark Andrews hits as well in this match.
The stomp 182.
Yeah. And I was actually kind of surprised myself with the finish, just because Mark Andrews, since NXT, like the UK division has started, has been kind of like one of the standard bearers of the brand. So I kind of expected him to pull out a win because he's also hadn't had a big victory in a while. But
I think the last time I saw him wrestle, he won. It was surprising then too, actually.
Actually, I think the last match I think I saw him in was like him and Flash Morgan Webster versus Eichner and Bartel, and they ended up dropping that match.
Singles match. Let me rephrase that.
Singles
the last
match.
singles match.
The last singles match, yes, he won.
The last singles match I saw, he didn't win because he was in the Worlds Collide and he lost to.
I haven't watched that yet.
Mm-hmm.
We should probably get that in.
Probably at some point, yeah.
Oh yeah.
So I've got a few notes before I get to them. What about you, Jerry? What did you think about the match?
I thought it was impressive. Like Owen was saying with the fact that they're both like high flyers, they both had to try and keep each other on the ground almost the entire match, and from that we saw a lot of innovative maneuvers in its own right.
Innovative, yeah. Whether on purpose or not.
Yeah. Well, the first Hurricane Rana, Mark Andrew went after
Frankensteiner.
The Frankensteiner that looked a little funky.
Like it was a single leg Frankensteiner.
Yeah,
how does that work?
He only got one leg on it.
It's a botch. It's a total botch. Because there's no way to use one leg unless you catch them up under the chin, or maybe you have your foot stuck in their mouth. There's no way to pull somebody off the top rope with one leg. Oh God. Anyway.
But with him versus Ligero, it was a little bit different also for the fact that the fans didn't really know who to root for either. So that atmosphere going, and I was actually really pleased with the match and that just from that alone. So. And then we got to see a really sick move that you and I had to like rewind like 3 or 4 times just to even fucking name it.
Okay, so yeah, before that and after the single leg Hurricane Rana off the top rope, so they're on the outside and they go for those moves off the steps, or Mandrews goes for the moonsault, I think, off of the steps, misses but lands on his feet. Ligero goes onto the steps but thinks better of it, goes onto the barricade, comes off the barricade with just a jump, but he catches Mandrews with his arm across like the face or the neck, and it's almost like an inverted reverse DDT. If there was such a thing, there should be now. Just great looking. Throws him back in the ring. Comes in with a not slingshot. It
was a slingshot.
Oh, was it?
It was a slingshot stunner.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of stunners going on.
Yeah, stunners everywhere.
Millionaire, blah, blah, blah. I guess...
Stun.
It's been 23 and a half years, and now everybody can use the stunner.
The ace crusher. Oh, that's what he like alludes to later. Is the fact that like everybody's throwing him out like super kicks all of a sudden.
But yeah, and then we get Mandrews doing a weird roll that lands Ligero on the ground. He does that standing double stomp and then a standing red arrow.
Yeah.
A standing red arrow. I think it was a senton still, but still a standing red arrow.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck you, Neville. Like he makes it look good, but at the same time difficult coming off the top rope. Yeah. And he fucking does a standing red arrow senton from standing position. Fuck. I'm just saying, how did Mark Andrews lose this match? Okay, so... and then the move that you were talking about by Ligero. Okay, starts with a pump handle, but I would call it inverted, because instead of having this hand here and this hand here, he's got the right hand holding down with the arm that comes between the legs, and the left hand on the back of his neck.
Yeah.
Picks him up, flips him over into a gut buster.
Yeah.
Slam. I don't know how else to describe this move. There are not regular moves to use other than the pump handle to describe this fucking move. Watch the match.
Yes.
Watch the match. There are so many awesome moves.
The inverted pump handle flip buster.
Flip buster. Inverted pump handle flip buster by Ligero.
flippy, spinny shit out of Ligero, always.
And then Ligero goes for a Frankensteiner. This he hits properly. And but Mandrews lands on his feet and does an inverted Rana driver for a near fall. Then Mandrews goes up top for a shooting star. This was his downfall. Ligero gets the knees up, gets a near fall, no fall out of it, but then comes off the ropes with that C4L, which I think he should just shorten to the C4.
Yep.
And he gets the pinfall.
Well, then it would be crazy for Ligero. It would just be crazy for.
And then after the match, we get the handshake and the fist bump of respect. And yeah, you're both baby faces. Fuck you, whatever.
We got a handshake. We got a handshake. What's going on, Owen?
I don't know why, but I thought someone I thought Mark Andrews was gonna turn or something.
Me too, for a second. He looked so underwhelmed with himself at the end of the match. Like it was just time for him to let out some frustration and some angst.
He's been on hasn't really been winning a lot of matches, and that could also lead to him being a heel turn for him.
Well, most of those were tag team matches.
But like I said, if I saw Mark Andrews going heel, it'd be almost like Sami Zayn, to the point where he still thinks he's entertaining as shit, still goes out there waving his arm and everything, but everybody's just booing him.
Boo you for being a heel. So
I think that'd be cool. So
I say so a lot. Up next, we've got a recap of Sid Scala announcing to the grizzled young veterans that's Gibson and Drake.
Yeah.
James Gibson or James Drake and
Zach Gibson.
Zach Gibson. Too many names. I used to have this. I used to have this down.
She already had her shoe ready.
So,
a flip-flop, but it works.
Yeah, Scala's announcing that soon, at some point, we're going to see Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan versus the grizzled young veterans. And this actually transitions into a promo backstage, kind of an interview with Lorcan, I believe.
Yep.
But then Burch interrupts, and he's on his phone or something, and he says that it has just been announced that in 3 weeks' time we are going to get the tag team title match between the grizzled young veterans and Lorcan and Burch.
Yeah.
So, there wasn't a lot here. There wasn't any acting or anything.
He pretty much Lorcan pretty much said what was anybody would say at that point. It's like their first defense is going to be their last one.
Yeah. I'm sure it totally will. Right.
Yeah. Of course.
I see a fucky ending. Some shenanigans.
I see them actually pulling off the victory clean, just like they did with Mustache Mountain.
That would be sweet. Okay, so
that's my favorite kind of heel.
So since there's not really anything to review or recap about it, let's go with predictions. Cindy, who do you think's winning the tag team title match in 3 weeks?
You know who I'm gonna pick?
Gibson. Gibson and Drake.
I don't know. You're one of everybody that picked Mustache Mountain for the original championship match, other than me. So I don't know nothing. You know who I'm picking?
Yeah.
The thing is that he just won the title at the Takeover Blackpool. So I don't think that Drake and Gibson losing the title is
smart.
Is to tell, So have them hold the title up until the next NXT UK Takeover.
Yeah, at the very least.
At the least, yeah. Owen, what's your take on it?
I think that match is going to be awesome. It's going to be like the match they had that Lorcan and Burch had on NXT with Eichner and Bartel not that long ago. I think it will be kind of like that match.
I can see that.
But I think it's kind of weird that only Lorcan can compete in NXT UK because he's not even from the UK. But I guess because Danny Burch is a tag team partner, I guess he gets a pass. But so I guess
there you go.
That.
Passed. Well, they're also billing this as NXT versus NXT UK. So I think they're more talking like they're in the NXT team. But why they would get a shot at the NXT UK Championship belts?
Yeah,
that's the fucking whatever.
That seems kind of heel-like if they actually would win the belts, because then you'd have a team that's not based out of the United Kingdom, having the championship. So.
But I also like too how it seems like the promoting, because this is going to be the first time the NXT UK blends being filmed outside the UK. It's being filmed in the US. So I think
3
making
episodes
these
in
shows
Phoenix.
feel special is awesome.
So who do you pick to win?
I'm gonna pick. I believe the name's the Grizzly Young Veterans.
Yes.
The Grizzly Young Vet. The Grizzled Young. How about you, Jerry?
Gibson and Drake all the way.
GYV.
Seriously.
Yeah, I think we've got 4 for GYV, Gibson and Drake. Yes, I do remember their names on occasion. I'm terrible with names, and I have to sit here and do reviews pretending like I remember all these motherfuckers' names.
It's why we have the notepads.
Cheers.
So after this, we get a video package for Xia Brookside. We are about to see her in action, and this just sets up the match because her promo has got this music in the background that is just so sexy. This is some new age porno music back in the background of that video. But anyway, good clips though. I mean, she looks like a great wrestler. Just I'm saying the music is a little sexy.
Yep.
Which goes right with her. She's a bit sexy herself. But before this match, we've got an interview. Pete Dunne's coming in, and they're basically asking him about Walter and his debut, finally getting in the ring, and possibly seeing him down the road in the ring, possibly for the championship.
Long and short of it, all we really got out of this is Pete Dunne doesn't fear anyone. He doesn't fear Walter. Simple as that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a reason he's been champ for 600 days, and I wish he would just say almost 2 years. It just sounds better.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about Pete Dunne's promo or interview or whatever you want to call it, Owen?
I liked it. What I like about Pete Dunne is he doesn't do a lot of talking. He just mainly lets his actions in the ring kind of speak for him. So
he even told Joe Coffey that. You talk too much.
But he actually said over 600 days. Actually, he didn't say it was 600.
Well,
days.
yeah, he said over, but still.
I don't know. I think it sounds a lot more epic if he says 600 versus 2.
But I also like
Days
because it builds up to a future match with Walter, which is probably going to be whenever they're going to have their next NXT UK Takeover event, and Walter will take the title from if he gets the title match.
Good God, I hope so. It's about damn time. I'm just saying, Pete Dunne has nothing left to do or prove with that belt.
Yeah.
And he's not going to ever reach the longest running WWE champion. That's, what's his name? Old school.
Bruno, San Martino.
Yeah, San Martino.
San Martino had that belt for like a decade, like 10 years.
At least half a decade of one reign, so you're not going to get there.
Mm-mm.
But
WWE recognizes Fabulous Moolah's like women's title reign is like 25 years, I think. But I
don't think you can do that because she defended it like for the first what? Well, maybe she's got the rating from the time that she did defend it.
Yep.
But there's like at least a decade in there where she just sat at home with the title. So anyway.
Became a household pet.
So finally, we've got Xia Brookside's match. She's going against Candy Floss.
What about Cindy's thoughts on the Pete Dunne thing?
Oh. I apologize.
Oh.
I think Owen did say what I have to say. I mean, his promo is pretty far outstanding for the fact that he doesn't even talk as much, just let his actions speak louder than words, to say at least.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm hoping like we could see Pete Dunne versus Walter's match. I mean, he did face Walter in past indie shows, and by the way, it's like pretty much an aggressive in nature match, like from different promotions. But I forgot which promotion on top of my head. But yeah, so we're probably going to see some of the matches as they rehash from their matches at some of the independent wrestling companies, possibly in the next takeover. And yeah, I'm hoping Pete Dunne would drop the title, because knowing the fact that Pete Dunne did debut at the Royal Rumble this year, I don't know if he's going to get a possible call-up. Depends on which tier contract he did sign up with WWE. I mean,
so that's a possibility. He's definitely ready for a call-up.
Can you imagine Pete Dunne versus Daniel Bryan?
I would actually rather see Pete Dunne go to 205 Live. I think he would be a much bigger fish in that pond than he ever would be on Raw or SmackDown.
But like as bad as a word as this may sound, I think it's the closest that they're going to have to Chris Benoit is going to be Pete Dunne, like ring work wise and everything, and viciousness.
That's a good comparison if you want to loosely use the word good.
You think about it, Benoit really didn't like say a lot in his promos either. He pretty much said what he was going to do when he got in the ring. And
I think when he did cut a promo, he wasn't usually that great either.
No.
But that's why you kept the mic off of him as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So on to Candy Floss versus Xia Brookside. I enjoyed this match.
Of course you did.
Not necessarily for the in-ring work. For the first half of the match, it was like they were trying to put on rest holds and do moves that didn't necessarily cause a lot of pain. A lot of reversals of falls.
Oh, a handshake at the beginning again because we have two clean-cut faces wrestling in a match.
But finally we get a spot in there where it looked like one of them was trying to inflict some pain. Candy Floss got this arm stretch, almost an arm bar, but a stretch, foot on the side of the body and the side of the head, pulling on the arm, trying to pull the arm out of the socket.
We called it the taffy puller.
The taffy puller, yes. And then this is where the match takes off a little bit, and there's a little bit of back and forth, but I don't have a lot of notes, but I'll get to those. Owen, what did you think about this match?
I liked it. This match was kind of actually the match that was strange on the show for me because it was kind of like two wrestlers of like the same gimmick pretty much just went at it.
They look more like a tag team than anything else in there.
Yeah, I see that happening. Just saying.
Because I was even trying to think, didn't they team up? I remember they teamed up like way back when in NXT UK, and they beat Killer Kelly and I can't think of her name.
Candy Floss wasn't in that match. It was I think it was Dakota Kai, I want to say.
But yeah, the pink hair, the blue hair, just the outfits. They're both like 19 years old.
What's up, Cindy?
It was actually Xia Brookside and Millie McKenzie.
Millie McKenzie, that's right.
Yeah.
Because Candy Floss always had the other match against Rhea Ripley and got annihilated.
And she had another singles match a couple of weeks ago, but I can't remember who against.
Is it against Isla Dawn? Because that match was like so bad.
So this is her third match.
That was I think that night you and Noah covered because I wasn't here.
Yeah, that's why you don't remember.
It was a nice competitive match, and I kind of hope it kind of plants the seeds maybe for them to become a tag team. So. Because I think that's kind of the direction they should go. So
I mean, based on the beginning and the ending of this match, we will get there though. Cindy, what did you think about the match?
I feel that this match is pretty self-explanatory. None of the fact that I really like the fact that NXT UK did hype up who Xia Brookside is, because she did have like previous two matches where she kind of lose in like in her single competition run.
Yeah.
Competition run, sorry.
It's okay. I do that shit all the time.
Was against Isla Dawn, which I'm so sorry to some of y'all, but that match was so bad.
I'm pretty sure we rated, yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. Even though I'm a fan of Xia Brookside, and I did meet her at an independent wrestling show last August, picture to prove, but there is more for her to build up more, and I'm glad that Xia, she actually improved quite well. Knowing the fact that her match at the Mae Young Classic, which is like less than 3 minutes and 50 seconds against Io Shirai, to where it's at, it kind of you can see how she is evolving.
Yeah. And
also regarding Candy Floss, aka Cotton Candy, because we say Cotton Candy here, over there they say Candy Floss. Mm-hmm. In the UK, but yeah, I'm surprised Candy Floss is not signed to WWE yet. I'm like so surprised because her gimmick fits well. She has a good in-ring ability, and especially her in-ring presence too.
Well, it's a good sign that this is her third match with NXT UK. So if she's not signed, she's probably got some sort of working relationship with them. Maybe the reason she's not signed is because she wants to keep her working relations with the other independent wrestling scene or promotions in the UK. I mean, there's
she did wrestle in World Wrestling Stardom.
Yeah, so, and I know there's different levels to those contracts where you can, be more exclusive or more capable of working with independents, but usually even the ones you can work with are ones that WWE specifically works with the UK and the NXT brand.
Most of which are going to be available on the WWE network when they start putting them in different little categories too.
But based on what I've seen, the Candy Floss gimmick is at least semi-original enough and over enough that she probably gets decent work. So I could imagine her turning down an NXT contract.
Or
just saying.
Yeah, WWE one.
Or you're in this year's Mae Young Classic.
That could be that's a big possibility right there.
So Jerry, what do you think about Xia Brookside versus Candy Floss?
You had a lot of wear down holds and everything, but at the same time, like I established, it's a face versus a face. You really didn't know who was going to pull out the win, but chances are it's going to be Xia Brookside because, well, she got the video package.
Yeah, that's right, and she is signed to the company. So
and like basically the only really noteworthy moves I actually had for it were the taffy puller, as we called it, and then Xia's finish with the Brookside bomb.
So yeah, I have two notes for the finish, the setup and the finisher itself. The setup was like Floss was seated in the corner facing the middle turnbuckle, and Xia comes in with a meteor to the back.
Yeah.
Double knees, and then pulls her up onto the top rope, like seated on the top buckle, and turns around, has her wrists, and pulls her off the top rope into a flip into a bomb, I guess, and
floats over for a bridge.
Completely contrived finishing move. Again, there's no way to have leverage to actually pull her off the ropes like that. Just looks like a very non-powerful move at all. Like, I don't know.
I like the pin.
The pin, she throws her legs up and does a sort of a Jeff Hardy style pin across one leg and then the other, which was semi-innovative the ways that she put it on. But other than that, I was not impressed with her finisher. I like the setup better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't think she had a name. No, she did have a name for that. Angel Wings.
Yeah.
That was the setup. That was the meteor to the back in the corner.
Nigel screamed, "Angel Wings!"
The match was not the notes, though. All my other notes are after match, because we have Rhea Ripley come out. And I wasn't surprised by this, because I actually read the description of the episode before we turned it on, and it said Rhea Ripley takes out some frustration.
Yep.
And I'm like, that's a very vague sentence. It doesn't say she has a match, but she's welcome to take out her frustrations on me. I'm up for that any day. But especially at the end of this match, because let's face it, it was a pretty sexy match. They're two hot chicks trying not to hurt each other. And it was very obvious for most of this match that they were friends and they were trying to get a win without hurting each other.
Yeah.
But then Rhea Ripley comes out and wants to hurt the both of them.
Destroys them.
And especially Xia, I guess because she's the one that got the video promo, so she's got the target. So she takes out Candy Floss a little bit, throws her out of the ring, but then she puts the Riptide.
Just a quick shove.
Yeah, Riptide goes to Xia Brookside, but then Toni Storm comes out to save the two.
Are we just going to completely skip over the inverted Texas Cloverleaf and with the swing? Jesus.
Yeah, she puts on that inverted cloverleaf that she does and adds a swing. Beautiful.
Yes.
Love it. And then, like I said, we got the Riptide. Then Toni Storm comes out. She delivers a headbutt to Rhea that was sick.
Sickening.
Sick.
Yeah.
That should have given both of them concussions. Goes to do another one as if her head probably doesn't hurt enough. But Rhea's smart. She throws Xia Brookside into the headbutt.
Yep. And
then this is where we get the Riptide.
Yeah, that's set for Riptide for that one. And Rhea Ripley standing over Toni Storm in victory.
Oh, and in just her black t-shirt and black leggings, like she looks so much sexier than both of the two Candy Floss and Brookside in the previous match. Just Rhea is just, I don't know why they took the title off of her. Man,
I made the point that it wouldn't shock me, or I'd be so thrilled if for some reason they actually did have Shayna Baszler and her team up in the main roster at some point. Holy crap, that'd be a hell of a team.
Oh, yeah.
Beauty and the Badass.
Awesome, yeah. Just team badass. They wouldn't even need music. They would just walk out there.
So we know we're getting this match. We're getting Rhea versus Toni for the title. Is that in a week or 2 weeks?
I think that's 3. I think they said
it's going to be 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from the previous episode.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's do predictions for that. Cindy, who do you think's winning? You think Tony's keeping the belt? Do what?
Toni Storm retaining the title. I mean, she just won the title at the last TakeOver Blackpool. It's too soon for her to lose. I mean, have her build up. And plus, like, we have, like, an interesting build up for, like, a possible next feud Toni will face, which is, of course, the fashionista herself, Jinny.
Yep.
What about you, Owen? Who do you think's winning?
I pretty much agree with that. One last thing I do want to say is I also read the description of the show before I watched it, and I actually thought the Candy Floss Xia Brookside was going to go to a no finish because I thought Rhea Ripley was just going to come out.
Yes.
Yeah, that would make sense too.
Yeah.
But when it did have a finish, I'm like, oh, so they're going to hug, and there was a point in there where Xia goes down to pick up Candy Floss, and they go for an embrace, and for a second, I thought we were going to get that RLA, that respectful lesbian action. It did not happen.
But I like that they did have a finish, though, because at least somebody got over with winning that match. I also want to say, too, I did like that Toni Storm sold the headbutt, too, because that looked like a stiff headbutt, too, and stuff, so...
Both of them actually look pretty vicious.
And you add on top of that the second one was supposed to look unexpected, and it really did look unexpected, and just even more brutal.
For some reason, I knew she was not gonna hit that second one on Rhea, but the fact that she did Operation Human Shield with Xia Brookside was pretty great.
Are you picking Toni Storm too, or are you gonna?
I have to go with Toni Storm, especially for what Cindy said. Jinny's obviously gonna be the next one in line for a title shot, and you're not gonna have Jinny versus Rhea, especially since she's already bashing Toni Storm at this point.
Yeah, that's exactly the reason I got to go with Toni Storm because.
Well, they could do a thing with Jinny costs Toni Storm the championship.
Ooh. But then she's got to go through Rhea.
But then she has to go and get Rhea for the title. I don't think she thinks she can beat Rhea. That's why she's still.
Or she attacks Toni and then disqualification. Toni Storm keeps the title, but at the same time she built some heat for their match. I mean, you're going to catch wrath from Rhea Ripley.
I'm about to say, you're really not. I don't think you're going to do that in Phoenix. I think they'll just have Toni Storm go over in a not really dominant fashion, but barely skin over teeth.
Now, I might have gone with Rhea because I love Rhea. I have a ring for Rhea if I ever meet her. Just saying. I would have gone with her, but we got an interview with Jinny later, and the way she talks about wanting to go for the championship, she's talking to Toni Storm because she says Toni Storm is the one that is always standing in her way.
Yeah.
Or always gets in her way to the gold or being on top. And
well, this makes sense, too, because Toni Storm knocked Jinny out of the Mae Young Classics, and I believe she beat her in the first round of the tournament, so it makes sense that she would say that. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I don't remember where we got this interview.
We got towards the end right before the Joe Coffey versus Ashton Smith match.
So let's go ahead and talk about this interview because, like I said, I feel like this interview is what pretty much gives away the fact that Toni Storm's going to keep the championship.
Yeah.
Because we are building towards a feud with Jinny, and it's, of course, going to be for the title. That's where Jinny is on her way to, is at least a championship opportunity, if not taking the title from Toni Storm. And if this happens in WrestleMania month, weekend, whatever, I'm all for Jinny winning.
Yeah. Because enough time had passed in that amount of time. Plus, it would have more of a build-up for the feud itself. Because right now we're just getting a bunch of talking and a lot of action out of the both of them towards each other. So I think after she beats Rhea Ripley is when we're gonna go full force into the feud with Jinny, and that'll be for some good matches and probably some great television too. So
yeah. So as she always says, this is the difference between you and me. She's a queen.
Yeah.
Kind of taking Charlotte's gimmick.
Since we're probably not going to talk about this later, the fact that she was bashing Radzie's outfit and told him that his face looked hideous, and that he needs to go ahead and have something that takes away from the face.
Basically, how dare you dress like that when you're going to interview the fashionista?
Pretty much.
I always think that Radzi is dressed pretty spiffily.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, he's traditional. He's not cutting edge like she is.
So, Cindy, any notes about Jinny's promo / interview / video package? We had a video package right before that.
Yep.
Well, my dog and I agree that we love Jinny's promo. some sort of like huge character. She's carrying on being like the fashionista she is too. Looking forward to how it's gonna bring up to like her upcoming match, which is gonna announce in a moment too. But overall, fantastic interview. And besides, regarding with Ratziel, I mean, for a in his early 30s, look like he's like in his early 20s. I mean, he does strut the part, to say at least. I don't know what the hell.
As fuck. He's like Noah.
Yep, Noah Foster doesn't age.
Apparently not. Wow. So, Owen, what do you think about this interview?
I liked it. Like I talked about earlier, too, I liked how they brought up the past stuff with Tony Storm consistently getting in Ginny's way. And I like that it sets up, you know, a possible feud because it shows that NXT UK has long-term planning beyond, you know, just one feud and stuff like that, too.
Yeah,
so
they've been building Jenny up for months now.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with that statement.
Well, my thing is also is like that's what I love about us being able to start from NXT UK from the beginning. Is the fact that we have all this backstory we can look back on, like almost like those little comic book notes, like the editor notes that say look back at this tournament, or like go back to this episode, and you'll be able to actually go back and access that because it's like we're not too far into it. We're not even on the 30th episode yet, and we have great storylines and great history between a lot of these main competitors.
Episodes. This episode, last episode, 2 great ones in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if you want to say, well, why so great? We're only 2 matches in to a 5-match show. A 58-minute, a minute less than UK or NXT was this week, and they had 4 matches in an interview, and it was meh.
It was alright.
And it was not an interview, in-ring promo by Johnny Gargano, the best part of the show.
Yeah.
And it was meh. This show was 5 fucking matches in 58 minutes, and it was pretty fucking great.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say awesome or spectacular, but pretty fucking great. So let's back up to after the Candy Floss Brookside match. Jordan Devlin's got a promo to do with his cell phone, selfie promo. And basically, this is just
and we knew it was going to be Jordan Devlin because that shitty PowerPoint that popped up and said Jordan Devlin.
What did he do? That he did his own intro graphic?
Yeah.
I even liked how he introduced himself right afterwards, too. Like, we didn't see his graphic, too. So.
For those of you who can't read, this is Jordan Devlin.
Yeah, this is Jordan Devlin. And it looks green and Irish, too. If there could be an Irish font, this was it. Basically, this is just him challenging Noam Dar in a couple weeks in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Maybe next week, maybe the week after, maybe in 3 weeks. I think they're doing 3 episodes. We're probably starting next week.
He said it's going to be in Phoenix, so we'll go ahead and make the predictions for that one.
Sure, why not?
Cindy, let's go ahead and start off with that. Noam Dar versus Jordan Devlin. Who do you got for this one?
I feel this match is going to be one hell of a match. Hard pick to say at least, but I'm going to have to go with my heart. And I'm going to have to go with Jordan Devlin for the win.
I thought that was going to take a complete different turn. But
what about you, Owen?
I'm going to go Jordan Devlin as well because I don't think Noam Dar is really a part of NXT UK. He'll just show up here and there. He's mainly part of 205 Live, so I think this is a way for him to put over Jordan Devlin. So, because he's going to be there, I think, more long-term than Noam Dar will be. So.
What about you, Jerry?
Sadly, I'm going to go by the intro graphic that we get with the theme music and everything. Noam Dar is actually in there, but not as prominent as Jordan Devlin. And if they're going to get, like, if anything, Noam Dar's only had 1 match at NXT UK, and that was a loss to Pete, the champion Pete Dunne. So
no, he had another one with Zach Gibson, episode 3.
Yeah, that is true.
Did he lose?
Yeah, he lost.
Yes.
All right, so he's probably getting. So I'm gonna go ahead
for
and
a win.
I'm gonna go with Devlin because of my Ono complex, where I thought like Cassius Ono was gonna beat Matt Riddle, and he didn't. So I'm
gonna break the cycle.
You're gonna say
we
Dar?
have agreed on what 2 predictions. We all agreed.
Yeah.
This one, I'm breaking the cycle. I'm going Noam Dar. He's got 2 losses. He's due for a win. Jordan Devlin can stand to lose.
And I'm gonna ask you guys this: do you think that was the end of his feud with Travis Banks, or is it just being put on hold for this match?
Travis Banks is probably injured again. This time for realsies.
At the Worlds Collide tournament, they did another angle where Jordan Devlin attacked his knee again. It seems like they always do an injury angle with Travis Banks anytime he's on a wrestling show. Like
anytime he gains any kind of momentum with me, they put him back on the
Perfect guess.
injury
Come
list.
on, Cindy. I'm telling you, this is going to end up being the re-debut of Travis Banks. He needs a banner.
He does something where he attacks Jordan Devlin after the match or something, and they continue the feuding, lead up to like a no DQ match or something. And Travis Banks did like for a whole year.
Yeah, we think that's where they're leading with this, kind of like they led up to the
Mastiff versus A. Dennis.
Yeah, that match. So now we have match number 3: Mike Hitchman, the Wild Boar, versus Joseph Connors, who not only has better ring gear, as opposed to looking like a walking, talking logo for NXT UK, with the sparkly gold and the suede almost.
He used to be shiny.
burgundy.
Now he's not.
Yeah, and he's got some badass entrance music. Other than Gallus, I think this might be my favorite entrance music on NXT UK. So let's start with Cindy. What did you think about this match?
It's just a pretty standard match. For the fact that you have Joseph Connor, at least he changed his gimmick because I'm not a fan of him wearing his gold jacket. It's kind of, I don't know what it is. It's not like the right taste of it. But overall, it was a pretty solid match. I'm glad Joseph Connor won. I mean, it is pretty much of a predictable match against Wild Boar. And I did see the WWE.com exclusive interview on WWE's YouTube channel where Ratsy did interview Joseph Connor, and Joseph Connor saying like 2 years ago, he was fortunate enough to be part of the WWE UK tournament, but then now he's been overshadowed by Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate, Trent Seven,
For good reason.
and et cetera, and he's just trying to make his name for himself, and that's why he is changing for who he is, and he wanted to set the bar high. And with his personality, it's like he's giving like a very cold present to it. So I'm actually loving Joseph Connor's new gimmick, and hopefully he better stick around for it for much longer.
Yeah.
What about you, Owen?
I liked it as well. I thought Mike Hitchman looked actually pretty good in this match too. Which I was kind of surprised. There was really no squash match on this show this week. They were all pretty straightforward wrestling matches. But Joseph Connors, I think that guy is going to be a big deal in NXT UK. He reminds me a lot of kind of like Seth Rollins and Edge a little bit, like their gimmicks kind of in a way when I see him wrestling and stuff. I love that sunset flip powerbomb that he does in the corner. I think they botched that a little bit because he completely missed the corner. But I think Mike Hitchman might have been too big for him to do it fully, so he kind of lost it halfway through. But yeah, I like the don't look down finisher that he has too. I think that's really awesome. Mike Hitchman too hit an awesome pump up powerbomb that I thought was gonna break Joseph Connor's neck, but I really like this. I think the sky's the limit for Joseph Connors. I think he's going to be a big star in NXT UK. And maybe WWE, but that's obviously...
That's a ways off, yeah.
So, what about you, Jerry?
There's not really much to say. Joseph Connors actually... He made the allusion to Edge and Seth Rollins. I think he comes off as more as Paul Burchill. He's got that ruggedness to him. He's got that huge chip on his shoulder. And it's one of those characters that, like, you know, it's a tale as old as time. He feels underappreciated, he feels underpushed, and now he's going to start taking it out on people, and that's great. That brings out the aggression. That makes for great matches. He's super loud. He talks very, very loudly in the ring. I'm not sure if, like, the microphones are just turned up under the mat, but we understand every word he's saying, and they probably hear him back in the rafters.
Yeah, his persona and his personality remind me a lot of early Drew McIntyre.
Yep.
Just for some reasons, like his mannerisms.
The first time he showed up as the heel for as the chosen one for Vince McMahon.
Other than the entitlement part, well, I guess the entitlement really goes with it, doesn't it? So I've got actually several notes for this. Like there was a lot of stuff in this match.
A lot of sentons out of Wild Boar.
Like there's a spot where Hitchman got knocked off the corner, and he's like hanging over the top rope, and Connors grabs his arms and does like a guy would do if you're on the apron on the outside to somebody's neck that's like trying to pull you up. He does that to his midsection, and it just looked like, I was like, never seen that before.
Nope.
Man, I get this a lot on this show. I call it a chest cutter, just because it looked like it would cut his chest with the ropes. We had Connors hung up in the ropes like he would be for a 619, and an inverted cannonball by Mike Hitchman across his back. Never seen that before. I mean, Jesus. Hitchman does a frog splash off the apron onto Connors on the floor, on the mat. Just looked brutal.
That splat was just off.
Yeah, splatting on that mat. Splat. On the Splatting mat. Bugs is where it's at. Anyway. Connors with a slingshot DDT for a near fall. It wasn't exactly like Johnny Gargano one, but very close. Mm-hmm. He kind of swings his legs further out.
I think it's more of a flatliner that he does than a DDT.
Well, no, that's his finisher. This was a slingshot DDT from the apron onto the inside. He dropped Connors with. And then we had the pop-up powerbomb by Hitchman, which set up Connors in the corner. But then he counters the cannonball. I think this is where Hitchman was going for the kill.
Yep.
And he goes to skin the cat onto the top rope in the corner. And Hitchman just catches him with like a spear, but with the top of his head.
Yeah.
To the top of Connors' back, almost to his shoulders, which looked like it hurt both of them. But then this is where Connors comes off the top rope with the sunset bomb, and then runs into a sunset bomb that was supposed to go into the corner, and like Owen said, kind of got botched.
Mm-hmm. But that was just like the way Mike Hitchman is built.
Yeah.
It was
low center of gravity.
Very low center of gravity. And
plus, he wasn't close enough to the corner.
Yeah, it's very easy to screw up a move like that, but even then, Hitchman still landed at least flush with it. Otherwise, that could have ended very, very badly.
Yeah, then Connors picks him up for the Don't Look Down, which is the cradle flatliner. I love this finisher. I wish he would be like the Roderick Strong to backbreakers to the cradle move. Like, find different moves to do with the cradle. I love Joseph Connors, man. Like, I'm digging this.
I'm sad that Mike Hitchman still didn't get the win.
He's like 0-5. 0-6 if you count tag team matches.
Yeah.
Jeez.
But like he is so great in the ring. He is just so fun to watch.
Yeah, very much.
I think he has won a match before. I forget who he faced, but I know he won like some enhancement match, I think, before. So he has
probably won the first match to set him up as this guy, and then just flatlined.
Cindy, do you see Hitchman getting a win, another win somewhere down the line here?
Anytime soon, anywhere.
If he wrestles like maybe Jack Stars.
There you go. I mean, you got to give him a little momentum back. You know, throw Jack Stars in there.
Tag team competition.
The Ginger Bino.
And that one, his tag team partner named Primate.
Yeah, Jay Melrose.
Yeah, at first I thought Hitchman was going to be facing Primate. I was like, yeah, they were a tag team. They're not anymore. Throw them in the ring together. I want to see that. But I believe we saw Melrose last episode, so chances are good we weren't going to see him this week. So now we go to Gallus in the back, pumping each other up, because apparently we're going to get Mark Coffey versus Walter, of course, but we're also going to see Joe Coffey wrestle tonight.
Yeah. His first match since losing to Pete Dunne. Yeah,
Ashton Smith of all people. And then next week we're going to get Wolfgang versus Pete Dunne. Apparently, that's what I thought. I heard that. It was a little difficult to hear Joe in this, but I thought that's what he said. So that's cool. So let's talk about that match. Pete Dunne versus Wolfgang. Owen, who do you think gets the win?
It's going to be Pete Dunne. I don't think Pete Dunne's losing a match until he loses the belt, unless he wrestles in like an NXT before that or something. But they've actually wrestled before. They wrestled when like Pete Dunne just won the UK title, when he retained it against him on an episode of NXT. This was like when Undisputed Era was just coming in and stuff. But I think this match might be even better than that, because Wolfgang's much more developed now as like a character now and stuff. So I think it's clearly going to be Pete Dunne winning. Like, it's not even a question. So.
Yeah, Cindy, Pete Dunne.
I think he's going to break his finger, too.
You go with Pete Dunne, Cindy?
Well, I do, but I honestly feel that we're probably going to be seeing some interference from Gallus.
It's a non-title match.
And then interference from Walter.
Maybe.
That's where I think they would go with this, is have Walter come out for the save. Because now my whole plan that I wanted to have is kind of put kiboshed so far, it looks like, with Eichner and Bartel coming out to help them. But since they're going to be having Pete Dunne versus Wolfgang, they're really pushing the whole idea of Pete Dunne. I'm really seeing a handicap match, I'm guessing, here soon, with Pete Dunne and Walter versus the rest of Gallus. Even if it's just on NXT UK television, or they'll find a mystery third partner to be part of it.
So do you think Pete Dunne's going over clean, or do you think somehow Wolfgang gets the victory by shenanigans? Cindy?
It's probably going to be a clean finish.
Clean finish for Dunne. What about you, Jerry?
I think there's going to be shenanigans. I think the match is going to get thrown out.
Thrown out?
But that's what I think is going to happen. That's what's going to cause the whole brawl to happen, and maybe a third party to be thrown into there to to face off, team up with Dunne and Walter for the 6-man tag.
I mean, it sounds good, but nah, I call clean finish for Dunne. Build him up even more. Why not? I mean,
he's done.
I'm surprised they're not having Pete Dunne face somebody from the NXT roster. Maybe that's coming eventually, but I guess there's no top star in NXT he can really wrestle, because he can't really wrestle Tommaso Ciampa.
Velveteen Dream could have cashed in his opportunity for any of the NXT titles and gone after Pete Dunne in the NXT UK Championship. It would have been better than going for the mid-card title. Who the fuck wants to challenge for the North American Championship when you can go for the NXT Championship? Or at the very least, the NXT UK Championship?
Breathe.
If you didn't get to see my rant, not yesterday, but 2 days ago, about Velveteen. Yeah. Go watch What's NXT for this week for the NXT show, and I do a couple of rants about Velveteen Dream selecting Johnny Gargano in the NA Championship to go after winning the Worlds Collide tournament. Just doesn't make any fucking sense to me.
Let's go with the Joe Coffey versus.
Moving on. Yeah. Well, actually, before that, we got the video package and the interview with Jenny, and I wouldn't normally go back and mention it again, except this leads us into a match next week that they said she's going to have with Mia Yim. That's why I believe next week is the start of the Phoenix shows.
Yep.
Is because this seems like an NXT UK versus NXT match, because Mia Yim is NXT.
Because that's the first thing I said. I'm like, why Mia Yim? And I'm like, oh yeah, they're going to be in Phoenix.
You. So Brand versus Brand. This should be really fun, I think. Now let's go to Ashton Smith versus Joe Coffey. Because who didn't see Joe Coffey going over the jobber Ashton Smith?
Joe Coffey looks even more vicious with this black eye in this match than he did before. Yeah. Which is sick, because he's already looking super menacing and with all his any entrance or any in-ring promo. But sure enough, he looks even more so now with this black eye and some damage that he got to his face from this match with Pete Dunne that he's not completely healed up from.
So, I called Jenny. Jenny versus Mia Yim.
Oh, we're going.
Yeah, might as well. Let's predict it. Jenny versus Mia Yim. Oh, and who you got?
Jenny gonna go up for the championship match.
What about you? What about you, Cindy?
Okay, before I get into my picks, you kind of made my dog upset because he's a fan of Ashton Smith.
Oh,
so,
no. I'm so sorry to your pup. I mean, you gotta go with Jenny here, right?
Yes, it's gonna be Jenny because I love Mia Yim, but I feel that this is gonna be the match that they're trying to push Jenny harder to the extent, especially like I mentioned, I would love to see her feud against Toni Storm, possibly for the NXT UK Women's Championship match.
Jerry?
Oh, Jenny all the way, and that's just because I fanboy out for her for so fucking hard.
Yeah, I mean Mia Yim is good, and she's not really a jobber, but she is basically enhancement talent. She's like an older wrestler who's there to work with and put over newer stars, even though she is fairly new to NXT herself. Ashton Smith versus Joe Coffey. So I've got a couple of notes here, mostly about Joe looking fucking powerful and awe-inspiring with some of these moves. Because he doesn't do spots.
No.
He just does moves with so much power that it's like, fuck, that looked like it hurt.
Yep.
He starts his takeover with a running push, I guess. Like, not really a spear. Like lawn darting himself though. They're on the outside. He sends Ashton into the barricade, and I'm just like, fuck. And I know I say that a lot, but damn, that looked like it hurt a lot.
Yes.
Like even with a padded barricade, if you notice, the padded barricades for NXT UK are much thinner.
Yep.
I feel like there's not as much padding there, but whatever. Yeah, my notes I have just Jesus Christ with a couple of exclamation points. That's how, like, I don't usually add that kind of commentary to my notes because I just do it. But
Jesus Christ got JC, Joe Coffey got JC. Can't be a coincidence.
So there was toward the end of this, there's a spot here. Joe is standing close to the corner, facing the corner, and Ashton comes in, done a running leapfrog over his back, onto the middle turnbuckle, goes to spring off the middle turnbuckle, gets caught.
Yeah.
Joe catches him with a deadlift German. I think he gets a near fall, but I'm not sure. I know the All Raw Best for the Bells isn't far from this, though. And he gets up, and it looks like he's about to run towards him, and I actually paused it to make some notes, and I'm like, oh, never mind, it's not the All Raw. No, he actually puts a couple of run steps into his All Raw now, and it looks even more fucking brutal.
He even calls for it while he's doing it.
Yeah, he says it out loud, and you can hear that really well, too. Owen, what did you think about this match?
So, I have a few thoughts. Am I the only one that forgot Ashton Smith existed?
I remember a video promo that he did where Jordan Devlin like interfered or some shit like that.
Well, he actually was also on the introduction to Walter this last week as well. He's he's one of the guys that talked about how big Walter was over in England and whatnot. So
didn't notice.
But you know, I liked the fact that it made Joe Coffey look strong because he needed to kind of look strong because he kind of came off that big loss with Pete Dunne, and he's been getting laid out kind of consistently by Walter. And I also kind of find it funny sometimes, and it happens with any wrestling company when they just kept mentioning how he had that like black eye from NXT UK Takeover Blackpool, and I know this show was taped like the day after Blackpool, so I'm like, oh, it's still gonna happen because this was taped the night after. So I just hate it when wrestling I just kind of wish they would ignore that type of stuff. Like, don't even mention it, but it's just weird because he obviously healed from the black eye.
There's got to be some kind of rubber makeup that they can put on that and try and cover it a little bit, something. But yeah, you're totally right. It's been a couple of weeks. Like they should like not mention it, at the very least. Even if you're gonna see it, just don't talk about it.
Cindy, your take on it.
I like to how Ashton Smith went after his eye too, and like Joe Coffey was very defensive about it too. So,
what about you, Cindy? What did you think about the match?
Well, my dog and I really like this match. Sorry, y'all. I know my dog is here and all that, but
it's cool.
I'm for NXT UK.
Pets mean ratings.
Fifth guest.
Yes. So anyway, my dog, his name is Joe. Coincidentally, the match was pretty great. I have to agree. I kind of forgot about Ashton Smith to say at least. I mean, the question is, when is the last time we saw a match with Ashton Smith? Like a couple weeks ago?
I could probably look that up.
I wouldn't try.
I wouldn't try. Yeah, it's going to take a lot of flips of the page.
If it's on recent memory, it's not really worth remembering.
I think the last one I remember was the match he had with like Eddie Dennis, but I think he was wrestled since then. I think.
I think
a tag team match.
There's a 6-man tag at one point against Gallus, like and other than that, because it was him, Mark Andrews, and Flash Morgan Webster versus Gallus, and after that, like he said, it was like him versus Eddie Dennis, and that's the last time we saw him on NXT television. I'm pretty sure.
I think so. So, what about you, Jerry? What do you think about it?
The match in general was actually pretty entertaining itself because it had like a lot of ferocious spots out of Joe Coffey. You just saw like the frustration in Joe Coffey coming out onto Ashton Smith, and it was fantastic. So, and yeah, that German suplex out of the corner was just brilliant looking. So,
yeah. So left-handed Aura best for the bells. AWRA best FUR for the bells.
Yep.
And I guess, is that the song or something for the new year? Because he hits you so hard you wake up in the next year.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure it's loosely translated for whom the bell tolls.
We could look that up.
Probably.
But instead, let's move on to the main event. We've got Mark Coffey versus Walter.
That's what I loved about that. Is the fact they had Gallus' music playing for Joe Coffey's win. Yeah. And all they had to do was just let Mark Coffey walk out afterwards, just have the music still playing.
You got that cool triple handshake, and then you had the little fist bump, handshake, whatever.
It's like they're like, you got this. They walk off, and I can just say, it's like, oh. No.
Yeah, no, he doesn't have this. He puts up a lot more of a fight than Stars did last week, but no, we knew Walter was going to win. Jerry, what did you think about this match?
Like you said, I already had in my head that Walter was going to win. They're not going to have him lose the second match, especially a dude this big at this point. And for the fact that we really haven't seen Mark Coffey in a lot of like singles competition. For him to like pull off as much offense as he did actually on Walter, that was impressive in its own right. And that because I've kind of seen like Mark as kind of like the weak link in Gallus, but at the same time tonight he actually showed a little bit different. He actually showed that he actually has some pull to him. So I was actually really impressed with the match. The ending naturally was expected, but at the same time there was no like post-match attack. There was nothing like that.
I expected this to be much more of a squash than it was.
Oh yeah,
definitely. There were spots in this where Mark actually had the upper hand, or at least seemed like it.
Yeah, there's always going to be moments where you actually going to kind of make Walter look almost human. Like he does have some, like. He actually can get attacked in some way, shape, or form and actually get hurt.
He's possibly vulnerable.
Yes.
He's human. He's not, super no-cell guy.
but we got that right at the beginning, though, too. But
I'll get there. I'm going to go last. I've got tons of notes. This was a great match, but let's go with Cindy G. What did you think about Walter versus Mark Coffey?
I mean, it was a pretty good match. I mean, it is pretty predictable that obviously Walter was going to get the win, but it was a pretty high intense match, especially the fact that you saw parts of Mark Coffey giving a couple of chops to Walter. He's just standing there like, okay, do it and all that until the key strike him, and then that's when Walter did give Mark the overhead chop, followed by climbing up to the turnbuckle, and that's when he brutally stomps Mark Coffey off the ring.
That was just nuts.
That was insanely nuts.
Yes.
So, again, good match, predictable, and I'm glad that Walter.
Butter.
Thumbnail for the NXT UK Takeover review video from forever as a thumbnail, but yeah.
Did you know that that Walter was on his high school track team?
Really?
He was a vaulter. Or is that gymnastics? It's one or the other.
Oh Lord!
I will look that up and work on the joke.
Owen, please save us. What was your? What do you think of this match?
I can't save if I was right. Yeah, I thought this was a good showcase match for Walter. Poor Mark Coffey, though, he got absolutely murdered in this match. But Mark Coffey, I even like the spot where like Walter like drops his opponent like face first and like chest first right on the apron. I just think that's awesome. And the way that he hits that drop kick, you just wouldn't think a guy that size would do a drop kick like that. Maybe I should stop saying that though, because I keep thinking that, and then it just happens.
It just keeps happening. Yeah. Didn't Mastiff hit a drop? I'm just.
Yeah. Mastiff hits a pretty impressive drop kick in his own right. So yeah.
But I liked it. I even like. It was very weird though that Gallus thought that Mark Coffey had it. I guess he didn't have it because he lost. You would think this match they would accompany him to inside, but I guess they thought he had it. But I guess they didn't watch last week, so. But yeah, I liked it. Good way to make Walter look strong. I kind of wanted to see like a Pete Dunne Walter, not necessarily like them go at it, but just like Pete Dunne come out and like have like a face-to-face confrontation with them.
Those don't get old. The stare downs between those two, it just doesn't. Yeah. It doesn't get old.
No, because neither one of them talks much, and Walter doesn't talk at all. Not even a 9. He talks 9. But Mark Coffey came into this with way more confidence than I feel like he should have had, especially without Gallus at ringside. But he goes right in on Walter with these forearms, and Walter is actually selling him, but then he goes for the chop. And Walter completely, no sell for you.
No sell for you.
No sell for you. And there's spots in this where Walter just no sells, and these lariats. So, Mark goes off the ropes and comes in with a lariat, and Walter just no sells it. And then this is what Cindy was talking about. He just starts egging him on. More. Come on. I think that's what he says. Come on.
Yeah.
And Mark Coffey just starts hitting these lariats.
These standing lariats just over and over.
Nothing. So then he comes back off the ropes with a lariat and ends up getting blocked, like double or like maybe single arm. I think he single arm blocks it, turns him around. Walter grabs him, German suplex.
Austrian suplex.
Yes, as I amended during the match, the Austrian suplex. And then he's up in the corner, and Walter comes in with a haluva kick.
Yeah.
I think you called it a Yakuza kick.
Yakuza kick.
But a running Yakuza kick into the corner, and then drapes him over the top turnbuckle, supine, belly up. And this is where Cindy was talking about the overhead chop to the chest was just sick sounding. Then he climbs up to the middle rope and starts choking him out with his foot over the ropes. And I don't know if he stomps him or not, but I know Mark falls to the outside, and just that looked like a brutal fall.
Yeah.
It almost looked accidental, except that Walter comes out and does that spot where he does the belly to back throw onto the apron. So I'm like, okay, Mark definitely was supposed to be outside for this. And then, let's see, Mark counters a sleeper attempt. This was actually smart. Walter goes for a sleeper, and Mark grabs the arm, pulls it over his shoulder, and tries to do an arm bar that way. Doesn't really get it in. Starts laying in the forearms, double hand chops since the original chop didn't work. Tries a running clothesline, ends up ducking Walter and hits an enziguri, a standing, like almost an overhead but sideways enziguri. Gets a near fall. Only time he attempted a fall in the match. Didn't get it. But then Walter chops him in the back, gets him into a sleeper. Mark backs him up into the corner, gets out of the sleeper, but then we get the drop kick. The aforementioned drop kick.
He eats that drop kick.
Almost like a basement drop kick, but standing, to a standing opponent, like crazy. Crazy a man that size doing that.
It's and so then quick.
Right into what I call power bomb number 1. The basic of all power bombs. 1, 2, 3. Walter gets the win. No after-match interference beatdown by Gallus. I was surprised.
Especially to soften him up for Wolfgang, you think they would have done something like that.
But you don't want to make him look weak right now, and I think if you're going to do the storyline that Jerry talked about where Gallus comes in and beats him down 3-on-1, and then Marcel Bartel and Fabian Eichner come out to even the odds and kind of force Walter into this 3-person faction. Yeah. I like that idea, but it can still be done, and I'm okay with them drawing the storyline out. So
yeah,
this made Walter stand tall at the end of the show, and that's the last thing we saw. And that brings us to the end of the main event. And around these parts, I like saying that because that brings us back. We are from Kentucky, despite my lack of accent. Around these parts, we like to rate the main events of the show using T, the NXT rating system. And let's start with Cindy G. Out of 5 spots of NXT, where do you rate this main event?
Oh boy, I'm on the spotlight. Main event match was pretty good. Especially on Walter's end. I mean, taking out the brutal chops that he deserves, and then Mark Coffey taking more beating than expecting from Walter. I enjoyed the match, even though the ending you could tell is pretty predictable. I'm gonna have to go with 3 3/4.
That sounds fair enough.
Sounds a little high to me, but no. Or Owen, where do you rate this main event?
I like what they were going for here. I don't think this was necessarily supposed to be like an outstanding match. I think it was just kind of meant to show that Walter was a very dominant wrestler. But I still liked the match. I thought it was pretty good. I'm gonna go 3 1/4.
All right, Jerry, you're gonna split the difference 3.5.
Actually, weirdly enough, I'm going to, and here's the reason why.
All right.
It's the fact that going into this match, I was already looking back at his other match with Jack Stars, and Jack Stars is a much smaller opponent, and was able to get thrown around a lot more and everything. So I didn't know really what to expect out of Walter against Mark Coffey, because Coffey is a bit heavier and more power based and whatnot. But at the same time, we saw a lot of offense out of Walter. We saw a lot of offense out of Mark Coffey that that was really impressive. He actually put the fight to Walter. Did we think he was going to win? Hell no. But at the same time, we had there were those fleeting moments where you're like, okay, after a while, Mark Coffey's going to be a viable opponent and whatnot. Do I see Walter as the #1 contender to Pete Dunne right now still though? No, because there's so many other wrestlers in that brand right now that have gone undefeated from show 1 to 29 that haven't gotten the title shot, like Mastiff even. I think Mastiff should either be going against Walter or against Pete Dunne before that match actually happens.
Yep.
But at the same time, the match itself was very middle of the road for me in that sense. The fact that you had 2 powerhouses in the ring, they put on a good show, but it wasn't anything to really write home about. It wasn't, it was NXT UK TV worthy. It wasn't TakeOver worthy. It was a good match. No real build to it, which made it that much better. But yeah, 3.5 sounds pretty fair to me.
Yeah, this match did everything that it needed to do. Made Walter look good, gave him a match to dominate without it being a squash match. Mark Coffey actually provided some
competition.
Some competition. He forced some effort out of Walter, and Walter had to sell. So we got to see how Walter looks trying to sell. It'll be nice to see him against somebody he really has to sell to, like say Pete Dunne.
Like I said,
or Mastiff.
Coffey.
You had story going into this of Mark Coffey getting revenge for the black eye that Walter gave his brother him in the face. You had that story within the match because the commentary mentioned how it was normally Joe Coffey, the older brother, sticking up for Mark.
Yeah.
And in this case, Mark is trying to get some revenge for his older brother. You had basically what you expected as a finish. Walter's going to go over. There was no after-match story or anything like that. So I would go 3.5, but I'm actually going to have to go with Cindy because this comes off of the back of a really great show.
That's right.
So I'm giving an extra quarter star. I'm going to give spot. I'm going to give this 3 3/4 spots of T. It may not have been a outstanding match or anything, 4 or 5 stars, but it was a really good match off the back of a really good show, and there wasn't any spot in this show or in this match that didn't make sense. Whereas NXT's main event on this week's show made no sense at all.
No.
I don't know if you guys saw this, but again, go watch What's NXT. I bring this up in detail. So, that brings us to the end of this show.
Mm-hmm.
And I say let's go with Owen first. You got any plugs to drop on us?
Yes, I do. I got 3 YouTube channels to plug. I got my CM Brothers YouTube channel, which I'll probably be uploading some sort of video on there at some point or another. I got my Owen the Talkinator YouTube channel. The most recent video that will be coming out is Sunday or Monday, whenever it goes up. I will be reviewing The Walking Dead Season 9, Episode 9, the mid-season premiere. And then, which I'm looking forward to that, by the way. I already said that in the beginning. But then we got Wrestling Fortune 44, where I post all my wrestling content. The most latest things is we're going to be doing the Wrestling Rundown, episode 140, where we're going to have the Simple Man, Noah Foster, on there. So look out for that. He was on last week. And also check out the Archangel, James Heber will be on it, and my friend Chris Starr will be on it. You guys are welcome to be on it if you can, but obviously it's up to you guys. And then we'll be doing at some point the Retro Wrestling Review Series, where we'll review WrestleMania 21 Sunday probably.
Cool. Cindy, your plugs.
Alright. Follow me at nodq.com/Cindy. That's going to take you directly to my Twitter page. Also, make sure to follow me on Instagram at simply_C_OK. Well, you'll see all the photo arts from either landscape or wrestling, and especially Instagram story of my drink selfie gimmick, and also my dog Joe's as well, zooming in. And also my personal YouTube channel at simply_C_OK, YouTube channel number 1. And then the second YouTube channel at Tyson Poppy Protection, where myself, Brian, and Tyler, we posted hype videos for different independent wrestling promotions, like a week or two before the event. And also, you guys, do not forget, make sure to go to nodq.com/shirts. That's going to take you directly to the Pro Wrestling T-shirts store, where you guys can find all the NoDQ.com t-shirts, like from NoDQ.com debate, the panels, I am the troll of NoDQ.com forums, and also your favorite personality. For example, the PA sensation, Greg Cherry, and I have to give a cheap plug as well. Greg Cherry has his own pro wrestling tea store where I'm actually wearing the Keep Calm and Sensation, because I'm actually supporting Greg Cherry. And real quick for the plug, make sure to check out the season finale of Wrestling Trivia Challenge, where the current champ Greg Cherry is taking on the WTC tournament winner Mark. And of course, bygones be bygones, since Greg did put me as the worst wrestling trivia challenger in history, but hey, over the bridge, but whatever. So that's why I am supporting Greg Cherry 100% and all that. So please check it out if you guys haven't gotten a chance yet. I know some of you guys did not watch the finales, and I must say it's aggressive in nature, y'all. And
yeah, the finale went live tonight. I believe everybody was in the chat room to chat while it was airing live before it went for. Well, I guess it's not live. It's pre-recorded, but they put it up live. I don't know how that works, but it went up tonight, and we were at work, so we weren't in the chat. We didn't get to watch, and we came back here and watched NXT UK, took our notes, and now we're doing the show. So we will get to it. I promise you, Greg. I don't know if I'm rooting for you. I was actually rooting for Jeff Meacham to win the tournament and then possibly get his belt back. So I don't know who to root for now, but I'm definitely going to watch the show. Speaking of dates, I want to thank you both, Owen and Cindy, for being on. I know it's a day late. I want to apologize to everybody in the NXT universe, or Galaxy, or the NoDQ Galaxy, everybody out there that's watching. I know you're used to this going up on Friday. Unfortunately, third shift called in last night, and I had to stay over till 3 a.m. and can't do the show from work. So we had to postpone it today. So I want to thank you guys for waiting 24 hours and still being on. Cindy?
Oh, no, it's no problem. It's actually perfect because, like, it's just for more hype for the whole Wrestling Trivia Challenger season finale. So, like, having, like, a day delay just to focus on that, and then the NXT NXT UK Tea Party review, it's perfect because,
I guess it worked out, yeah. If you'd like to be up on the big screen where Cindy G and Owen are, and join us for a spot of NXT, we'd love to have you on the show and help us review an episode of NXT UK. Just find me on Twitter. Go to nodq.com/Stefan. That's STEFAN. Or if you'd just like to find me on Twitter, it's at Stephan R. Osborne, OSBORNE. As always, the R stands for restricted. That's because I drop a lot of fucks. Not F-bombs. You can also find this gentleman on Twitter.
At NoDQGeneral, and also on my Facebook group Armbar, all capital, ARMBAR, exclamation point. Just find Stephan or I on there. We're both administrators. We'll go ahead and let you in. And lots of memes, lots of group discussions, lots of wrestling fun.
Yeah, mostly wrestling memes. That's what I like Armbar for, even though I don't post a lot of them. But if you like this video, click the like button. That'll be right underneath me. If you like all of our videos, you should click the subscribe button. That's underneath Jerry. That'll subscribe you to NoDQ.com's YouTube channel. However, if you'd like to subscribe to our YouTube channel, that's Aftermatch Wrestling, all one word, Aftermatch, AFTERMATCH Wrestling. You'll get these videos something like a half a day early. They go up really late at night, but then Aaron gets them, downloads them, posts them on NoDQ, and so that takes lots of time.
And if we get 100 subscribers,
yes,
we will start doing these shows live, which means lots of shenanigans, lots of screw-ups.
Oh, lots of screw-ups.
Lots of screw-ups.
I think we did that outro 5 fucking times.
You guys are missing out on a lot of outtakes.
I swear to you guys, I am terrible with names, and intros and outros kill me. Notice most of the editing is the intros and outros. Just saying. I apologize.
What editing?
It's who I am. It's who I am.
Consummate professionals, folks.
I'll remember your face forever, but I will never remember your name. Especially all these fuckers in this new promotion. Oh my God. I wish I could go back and edit out all the times I forget fuckers' names. But I'm not going to do all of that. I think it's funnier when I do forget them sometimes.
Oh, yes.
Sometimes it's just annoying, but whatever. Anyway, so yeah, if you want to subscribe to Aftermatch Wrestling, help us get up to 100 views. We'll start doing them live. The goal of that is, with 100 subscribers, I feel like there's good odds that at the weird hours we do these shows, we might actually get a few viewers. We want you to leave questions, and we will answer them at the end of each video. So that is our goal. Help us get there. Again, Aftermatch Wrestling. So, for the Duchess of NoDQ, 1/3 of the ladies of NoDQ, Cindy G. For Owen Finch, he is the Birdman of Boston. For the General, Jerry Slaughter, I am, of course, the Wizard of NoDQ, Stephan Osborne. And we thank you for having a spot of NXT with us, and we will see you NXT time.
Cheerio.
Cheers, y'all.
Oh, I just want cheers.
Bye, everybody.